بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما وعملا وهدى وتقا ورشادا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم فقهنا في الدين وعلمنا التأويل. اللهم إنا نعوذ بك من علم لا ينفع ومن قلب لا يخشع ومن نفس لا تشبع ومن دعوة لا تسمع. نعوذ بك اللهم من هؤلاء الأربعة. أما بعد. Okay, we said that in this dars, inshallah, we're going to firstly learn a principle, a qaida, regarding what breaks the fast and what does not break the fast. What are the things that invalidate the fast? And why do we need that qaida? We need that qaida for the issues that have not been mentioned in the Quran and Sunnah. They're not mansoos alayh. Yani the Quran and Sunnah have not explicitly discussed them. For that, we would require the qaida. But before we proceed, Sheikh, yani if we could first finish this one issue and a couple of issues that are left, and then once we start taking the contemporary issues, before we do that, we will do the qaida. Khalas? So right now we are discussing what are the things that have been explicitly, clearly mentioned in the Sharia. Clearly mentioned in the Sharia. You're able to hear me, right? خلاص طيب. نعم. Oh, صح نسيت. I connected the HDMI cable and forgot to. طيب. Okay. So we discussed in the previous dars, the Sheikh mentioned a ruling regarding the one who breaks the fast, whether he does it intentionally or for a genuine excuse. He said that عليه القضاء فقط. He only has to make up that fast. And while mentioning this issue, he mentioned the scenarios where if he breaks the fast through these 4, 5, 6 things, then he will only have to make up the fast. And if he breaks the fast due to intercourse, then he will have to also give the kaffarah, right? So in this process, he mentioned the mufattirat. Mufattirat, yani the matters that invalidate the fast. What are the matters that invalidate the fast? We mentioned إذا كان فطره بأكل أو بشرب أو قيء عمدا أو حجامة أو إمناء بمباشرة. We discussed أكل and shurb. What was the dalil for that? We discussed it last time.
He has left his food and drink.
الحديث قدسي يدع طعامه وشرابه وشهوته من أجلي. He leaves his food, drink and shahwa, his desires for my sake. خلاص. This is the dalil. وكلوا واشربوا حتى يتبين لكم الخيط الأبيض من الخيط الأسود. That's another dalil, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned the thing that is mubah, that is permissible during the night. That means during the day that is impermissible. During the day it would be impermissible. صح ولا لا? That's easy to understand, right? خلاص طيب. أو قيء عمدا. What was the dalil for the قيء عمدا? That if someone vomits deliberately, intentionally, then he will have broken his fast. What was the dalil for that? لا, Ibn al-Mundhir is the one who mentioned the ijma'. But before that, the hadith, which we said that it has, and its authenticity is a little questionable, yes? In Abu Dawud, what was the hadith? من ذرعه القيء فلا قضاء عليه. يا شباب، يا إخوان، الدليل is the most important. طيب لحظات، إذن أوريكم. هنا، لا ليس هنا أيضا.
That one is in Bulugh al-Maram.
No, Bulugh al-Maram is not a primary source of hadith. We just let's just, I think we searched for it the other day as well. Yeah, this one. So رواه الخمسة وأعله أحمد. رواه الخمسة يعني أبو داود نسائي ترمذي بن ماجه أحمد هكذا. I'll just share the screen for everyone to see the hadith. Please note down the hadith, the dalil, whether even if it is da'if, note it down, because this is something that the scholars derive the ruling from. They use the hadith to write it down. Whoever is overcome and vomits and ذرعه القيء, uncontrollable for him, he doesn't have to make up the fast. وَمَنْ اسْتَقَاءَ, the one who does it deliberately, intentionally, then he will have to make up for that. Okay, what's the يعني issue with the hadith? Ahmad ibn Hanbal يقول ليس من ذا شيء, يعني it's not يعني authentic. Why? Because يعني perhaps because it was only one person who was narrating the hadith amongst the ruwat. So there are some issues with the isnad. And some other scholars said there is another tariq, there is another chain that is from which the hadith is being narrated. So يعني it will corroborate the other narration, and يعني it will reach the level such that it is sufficient as an evidence. قواه الدار قطني, قواه يعني considers it قوي, الدار قطني also one of the محدثين considers it قوي يعني strong يعني in terms of its authenticity. طيب, so we said other than this, even if we don't take this hadith into consideration, we have an ijma that has been mentioned by whom? Ibn al-Mundhir. طبعا Ibn al-Mundhir, take this as homework. Read about Ibn al-Mundhir, who is he, what is his name, when did he pass away, and what is he best known for? Ibn al-Mundhir, who is he, when did he pass away, and what's his name, when did he pass away, and what are his books, and particularly one particular source of knowledge or source of Islamic law. He is someone who is very much, into it. So we have four, right? Quran, Sunnah, Ijma, and Qiyas. Which one does he, amongst these four, does he focus more on, or which one from amongst these do we benefit the most from his works? خلاص. طيب. Then we mentioned أو حجامة. Hijama, what was the dalil for this? Those who say that hijama breaks the fast and invalidates the fast. The one who cups and the one who is cupped, both of them have broken their fast. أفطر الحاجم والمحجوم. And then we said that there is another qawl that this does not break the fast. So the ones who say that it breaks the fast are the Hanabila, Hanbalis, and the rest of the Jumhur, the majority, they say that it does not break the fast. What is their dalil? That their dalil is the Hadith of Al Bukhari, Sahih al Bukhari, the Hadith. يعني أفطر النبي احتجم رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم وهو محرم. The Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم underwent hijama when he was in the state of ihram. واحتجم وهو صائم, and he also underwent hijama while he was in the state of fasting. Right? And also we mentioned alongside this hadith the qawl of Anas ibn Malik that was also in Sahih al Bukhari, that he was asked what was the reason you would dislike hijama during the fast. He said, we would dislike it just because it weakens a person. And in addition to that, also Abu Sa'id al-Khudri radiyallahu anhu, and this is not just Anas ibn Malik, but also Abu Sa'id al-Khudri radiyallahu anhu, when he was asked about it, he said, إِنَّمَا كُرِهَتِ الْحِجَامَةُ لِلصَّائِمِ مَخَافَةَ الضَّعَفِ. This hadith is in Sahih ibn Khuzaymah. Sahih ibn Khuzaymah, this is not a hadith, this is the qawl of Abu Sa'id al-Khudri. He said that hijama was disliked for a fasting person. Who said this? Who is he? Sahabi. Anas ibn Malik, who is he? Sahabi. So what do we benefit from their aqwal and their sayings? Sahih, but what do we benefit from that? So how did they understand this issue? What was the understanding of the Sahaba for this issue in that time, during those days, in that period? What were the Sahaba? How did they view it as? Right? It's very important. And in the fiqh, if you jump straight, and for example, you just take directly from the hadith, you might end up misunderstanding the hadith. But as you go with the athar of the Sahaba, now you have more context to it. You understand? How did the Sahaba understand it? That's very important. And that is why, alongside searching for Ibn al-Mundhir, also tell me which hadith books or which books of narration are best known for the statements of Sahaba and Tabi'een. And we have Bukhari, Muslim, Muwatta, multiple books, right? In which mention narrations and hadith. Which hadith book or which book of narrations are the most famous and the most beneficial to know the aqwal, the statements of the Sahaba and the Tabi'een? This will give you a greater understanding of the mas'ala. How did the Sahaba understand it? Understand? Is that clear? So Abu Sa'id al-Khudri, he said, إنما كرهت الحجامة, it was disliked, hijama was disliked for a fasting person, مخافة الضعف, out of fear for weakness. First he used the word disliked. Then he said, out of the fear of weakness. Yani, there is indication that it does not break the fast. Is that clear? Khalas. So given this, if you draw blood for example, for tests, for example, checking your sugar levels, glucose, or مثلا, that's first of all, it's very small amount. But even if there is, for example, if you are, let us say, donating blood to someone, would it break the fast according to this qawl? It will not break the fast, but it's best to do it after the fast. Just yani, let's just go out of the khilaf. Why just go into an issue which is disputed? Then let's just do it after iftar. Alhamdulillah, hospitals are open, everyone's fine. Just donate it after the iftar, right? Okay. Now this is clear so far until hijama. خلاص. أو إمناء بمباشرة. Imna means, how did they translate? Ejaculation بمباشرة, due to foreplay. So, or ejaculation for any other reason if it is done on purpose. If it is done on purpose, then it will break the fast. It will break the fast. If it happens in the form of مثلا, something that is out of your control, wet dream, then it will not break the fast. Similar to vomiting. You vomit unintentionally, it's out of your control, does not break the fast. You do it intentionally, vomit, it breaks the fast. So likewise, if a person ejaculates because he had a wet dream, then it does not break the fast. He does it on purpose. Mathalan, it was in his control, but he did it on purpose. For example, if for someone, even if he looks at something twice, thrice, and he's doing it the third time, and he knows that if this happens, he's doing it intentionally. So that's why the fuqaha mentioned man karrara an-nazar, the one who repeats, he looks again and again at something, and it ends up with him, ejaculating. Then this will break the fast. واضح? So whether it is due to foreplay or due to any other reason, whichever way a person ejaculates intentionally, it will break the fast. Okay, you might say, what is the dalil for this? The dalil for this is the same hadith Qudsi. يَدَعُ طَعَامَهُ وَشَرَابَهُ وَشَهْوَتَهُ مِنْ أَجْلِهِ. The fasting person, he gives up his food, drink, and desires. For whose sake? For the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. A person who intentionally ejaculates, does he fulfill his desire? Naam. Fulfills his desire. Khalas. He doesn't need anymore, right? So that is why this will break the fast. This will break the fast. واضح? This is clear? Khalas. The Siyam is a school. It's a course for ikhlas, for training yourself for ikhlas. يَدَعُ طَعَامَهُ وَشَرَابَهُ وَشَهْوَتَهُ مِنْ أَجْلِ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and in this hadith, the Qudsi mentions, the Prophet mentioned that every amal of Ibn Adam is multiplied 10 times, 700 times. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, إِلَّا الصَّوْمِ, except for Sawm. فَإِنَّهُ لِي, it is for my sake. وَأَنَا أَجْزِي بِهِ, and I will reward for it. What makes Sawm special? The fact that the slave is sacrificing something for the sake of Allah. He's giving up something for the sake of Allah sincerely, out of the fear of Allah, in order to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's a madrasa, it's a school, it's a course that it helps you, enables you to increase in taqwa, enables you to develop ikhlas in your heart, sincerity in your heart, doing things for the sake of Allah, even when no one is watching you. And walidha, it is important. There's a hadith that will come, but just to increase our iman, inshallah. Jabir radiyallahu anhu is narrated to have said, إذا صمت فليصم سمعك وبصرك ولسانك عن الكذب والمآثم. Whenever you fast, then your hearing, your sight, and your tongue should also fast and abstain from lies and from sins. وَدَعْ أَذَى الْخَادِمِ, and also do not annoy and do not hurt per se. يعني يعني أذى is how would you best translate أذية? يعني hurting someone, but not necessarily hurting like physically, but generally even with your words. Irritate someone. So do not irritate your khadim, yani the one who serves you. And that day should be special. So even if you sometimes are a little harsh on your servant, on someone who serves you, etc., those who are under your authority, you're a little harsh on them. On the day of the fast, do not be like that. وَلْيَكُنْ عَلَيْكَ وَقَارٌ وَسَكِينَةٌ يَوْمَ صِيَامِكَ. On the day of Siyam, you should have some kind of tranquility on you. You should have a kind of forbearance in yourself. وَلَا تَجْعَلْ يَوْمَ فِطْرِكَ وَيَوْمَ صِيَامِكَ سَوَاءً. The day you do not fast and the day you fast, they should not be the same. Yani the day of the fast should be something special. You are trying a little bit extra to protect yourself from sins. You're trying a little bit extra to remain within the boundaries of taqwa. Understood? So this is important that when we fast, we take this into consideration. And those who are under our authority, things that we look at, for example, social media. Social media, and generally speaking, halal to use. صح? But we know that once we are using it, there are things that are haram that will come, right? For example, if you are watching different posts on Facebook, on Twitter, مثلا, or YouTube, there will eventually be something that is haram, right? Things, pictures, they appear before us. So maybe on the day of your fast, at least during the fast, take extra protection. Do not use it. ما في مشكلة. صح ولا لا؟ يعني if there's something very important, that's a different scenario. But generally, if you're just doing it for entertainment, just for lahu, or just to pass your time, just avoid it during the fast for extra protection of the fast. Understood? We can take this from likewise, for example, gathering with people who are likely to be backbiting other people, right? Avoid socializing too much during the fast. For example, if you sit in a gathering and they're gossiping, talking about other people, then your hearing will not be abstaining from the sins. Right? So either you are doing inkar. If you're not able to do inkar, then you're part of that gathering and part of that session of backbiting. Avoid it. And do it after the fast. So special care should be taken and given to for the fast. طيب. So far clear, Sheikh? Everything? واضح؟ إلا من أفطر بجماع فإنه يقضي ويعتق رقبة فإن لم يجد. Now this is how many were mentioned before? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 are mentioned, and hijama, we said that the rajih is that it does not break the fast, right? So 5 are mentioned so far. Now this is number 6. Matter number 6 that breaks and invalidates the fast, which is jima'in, yani intercourse, فإنه يقضي. Now in this case there is a kaffarah. What is that kaffarah? Afraz, can you look into the translation and tell me what's the kaffarah? Ashad, you as well. Have a look into the translation. Tell me what's the kaffarah. Issue number 251. Yeah, what's the kaffarah? Expiation, penalty for that. What does he have to do? He has to make up the fast. Next, free a slave. If he cannot free a slave, then has to fast how many days? 60 days. 60 days, there's something special, like 60, any 60 days? 2 days this month and 3 days next month? Consecutively, okay, khalas. Continuously, 60 days. Then, if he is not able to do so, feel 60 poor people. Fine. Here we have multiple issues. First of all, man aftara bi jima'in. What is this jima' going to be? Is it specific to Ramadan, or even outside Ramadan? If you have مثلا, committed intercourse during a voluntary fast, will you still have to give kaffarah? This is only for, first of all, Siyam of Ramadan. Okay. Sometimes what happens is you are fasting in Ramadan, you couldn't fast a particular day in Ramadan. You had to make up that fast. You had to make up this fast after Ramadan. Tamam? Okay. Question is, during that make-up fast, during that qadha, let's say you missed a day because of fever in Ramadan, you're making up that day in Shawwal. And that particular day in Shawwal, you broke the fast through intercourse. will you have to pay the kafara, or yani, these three options, or not? These are not options. It's like yani, how would we describe it? And first is you have to free a slave. If you can't, then you move to the next one. That is the 2 consecutive months fast. If you can't, then you move to the third one. So it's not like options per se. It's progression or order. It's an order. طيب. So the question is, looking at this hadith, first read through the hadith carefully. I hope it's visible to all of you. Read through the hadith and tell me, is it possible, and even if it's a makeup fast and you break it through intercourse, will you have to give this kafara, or will you only have to make up that for that day? وقعت على امرأتي في رمضان. He said, I had intercourse during Ramadan. So the hadith mentions only during Ramadan. Can we extend it to outside of Ramadan based on qiyas? Qiyas, you know qiyas, right? We did qiyas, right? Comparing two issues, have similarity. This is the fard fast, this is the fard fast. Can we do qiyas here? Qiyas, in order to do qiyas, both the issues should have the same weightage, same illa, same reasoning behind them, right? So what is the reason that this is such a big kafara is wajib? It's wajib. Because it's some wajib. So if you say that, then you will end up saying, then in the makeup fast also, if you break the fast through intercourse, you will have to give the kafara. If you say that it is because it is an obligatory fast. And if others say, it's only in the month of, if they say it's because it is Ramadan, and Ramadan has a sanctity, it has hurma. Hurma means any sanctity, Sheikh. It has greater sanctity than other months. In the Nahar of Ramadan, there is greater sanctity for it compared to the rest of the year. So, and because it particularly mentioned Ramadan in this hadith, and because it has greater hurma, so we would not extend it to days outside of Ramadan, even if it is an obligatory fast. Who is this the qawl of? Ibn Qudama, rahimahullah, mentions in Al-Mughni, Ibn Qudama. Do you know Ibn Qudama? Must have heard of his name. If you read through the different fatawa on different websites of ulama, you will always hear the mention of Ibn Qudama. Ibn Qudama. He mentions, ولا تجب الكفارة بالفطر في غير رمضان في قول أهل العلم وجمهور الفقهاء. According to the people of knowledge and majority of the jurists. So according to Ibn Qudama, majority of the jurists and generally the people of knowledge, Ahl al-Ilm, they view that the kafara is only obligatory in case this happens during the month of Ramadan. Ma'ana? Ashad? With us? Inshallah. Khalas. How did we derive it from the hadith? Because the other months are not as they don't have the same sanctity as that of the day of Ramadan. So that is why they they restricted it only to Ramadan and did not extend it to outside Ramadan. Is it same for makeup fast? Okay, we just addressed this issue now. Khalas, this is clear now? And also the dalil for this kafara is also clear now, right? This is the dalil in Sahih al Bukhari, right? In Sahih al Bukhari, hadith number 6711. So you may write, and you might not be able to write the whole hadith, but it is the dalil. 6711 from Sahih al Bukhari. This is the dalil for the kafara. The Prophet ﷺ asked, هل تجد ما تعتق رقبة? Are you able to, free a slave? قال لا. قال فهل تستطيع أن تصوم شهرين متتابعين? Can you fast 2 consecutive months? Can you fast 2 consecutive months? He said لا he said قال لا. He said لا. فهل تستطيع أن تطعم 60 مسكينا? قال لا أجد. I don't have enough to feed them. فأتي النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم بعرق فيه تمر. يعني he a big basket, there was dates in it. Was it sufficient for 60 poor people? That's why the ulama, they said that he, when he gave the sadaqah here, it was not as a kafara that he gave a sadaqah here. It was just that the Prophet ﷺ told him just to give this as sadaqah. Allahu alam. So then he said, which is why when he said that I'm the poorest person in Medina, so the Prophet ﷺ gave it to him, gave it to him.
But what about the way that's the obligatory fast of Ramadan? Can you decide to break it during the day?
No, no. The rest of the rulings, they're the same as the fast in Ramadan. So if you are making up the fast outside of Ramadan, can you just break the fast? No. The fard of Siyam, the obligatory fast, you cannot break it as you wish, at will. You cannot break it at will. However, the fast that is voluntary, nafil, you can break at your will. Just like the Prophet ﷺ came to Aisha radiallahu anha, asked if there's something to eat. When there was hais to eat, he broke the fast. So you can break at will because that was a voluntary fast. As for fard, the obligatory fast, that is not permissible to break. Not permissible to break, whether it is during Ramadan or outside of Ramadan. Clear? Okay, couple of issues here. First issue is شهرين متتابعين. How will I determine whether I am able to fast 2 consecutive months or no? It's an important issue, right? How to determine whether I'm able to fast 2 consecutive months or no? There should be some kind of a principle that eases for us to determine whether I am able to fast or no. The one who can fast the whole of Ramadan, he will be considered someone who can fast 2 consecutive months. Fasting 1 whole month and fasting 2 months, yes, I mean, it's slightly more difficult, but not much of a difference. So if a person is able to fast Ramadan, then we will consider him someone who's able to fast the 2 months consecutively. Is this clear? This is an important dabit. Should we write it down? We should write it down. Sah? When will we consider a person able to fast 2 consecutive months? If he is able to fast Ramadan, he's able to fast 2 consecutive months. Sahya Achad, do you have a pen with you? ما في مشكلة, I have one.
We demonstrate to fasting 2 consecutive months nowadays. There's no slaves.
There's no slaves, so we jump straight to fasting 2 consecutive months, right? Or do we find slaves somewhere? Right now, we don't have. Except the new generation, they like to call them, each other. Sometimes, they're poking fun at each other by calling each other slaves. Sometimes, no? That's a different story. But they're not real slaves, right? Because I teach as well in a school, so I know that the students like to call each other slaves sometimes. No, just randomly. It's a way to just poke fun at other people. Yeah. But next issue is the hadith did not mention the woman, the wife of this person. So is she also supposed to give the kafara, or is it only on the man? The qawl of the majority, Allahu Alam, is that both. And that is also the qawl of Shaykh Ibn Baz and Shaykh Ibn Uthaymeen. Shaykh Ibn Baz and Shaykh Ibn Uthaymeen, that both the woman and the man both have to give the kafara. Majority of the scholars and Shaykh Ibn Baz and Shaykh Ibn Uthaymeen as well, yes?
Not possible that there could be a difference when it comes to Ramadan, which is tough. Fasting 2 consecutive months
it's tougher, true. Sahih, but what other way can we look for to determine whether he's able to fast 2 consecutive months or no? Yes, there might be a scenario where a person is able to fast 1 month and then not able to fast 2 consecutive months. But then again, if he falls sick, then he has udhr, he can continue. Likewise, if a woman is in her menses, by ijma' she can continue from the end of her menses or with this kafara. Yani Ibn Mundhir, I just brought this book for you to see, Al-Ijma' by Ibn al-Mundhir. Here he mentioned, I told you the other day, right? Kitab al-Siyam, only a couple of pages, but this and this. Amongst the things that he mentioned here in Kitab al-Siyam, he said, وَأَجْمَعُوا عَلَى إِبْطَالِ صَوْمِ مَنِ اسْتَقَاءَ عَمْدًا. They all unanimously agreed that a person who vomits intentionally, his fast is invalidated. And amongst the things that he mentioned here is also وَأَجْمَعُوا عَلَى أَنَّ عَلَى الْمَرْأَةِ إِذَا كَانَ عَلَيْهَا صَوْمُ شَهْرَيْنِ مُتَتَابِعَيْنِ, that if a woman has to fast 2 consecutive months for the kafara, فَصَامَتْ بَعْضًا, then she fasts a few days, ثُمَّ حَاضَتْ, then she goes into, then the menstrual cycle begins, أَنَّهَا تَبْنِي إِذَا طَهُرَتْ, she will build upon that, she will continue from the number of days that she had already fasted once the tahara is achieved. واضح? Yes, Ashad. 60 people, how much you give each person? Allahu A'lam. It can be نصف صاع, and generally نصف صاع is the ruling for the kafara of Hajj. For committing one of the prohibited acts in the state of Ihram, the Prophet ﷺ said, أو أطعم ستة مساكين لكل مسكين نصف صاع. Feed 6 people for each miskin. نصف صاع means 2 muds. يعني it's in liters, I can tell you. In kilograms it will vary, but we'll inshallah talk about what a sa' is. So will we also apply this to the siyam? Allahu A'lam. I don't know. And this is a famous issue when we discussed mutlaq and muqayyad. Remember? We said that if there is a mutlaq and there is a muqayyad, that the mutlaq will be understood in the light of the muqayyad. But there is a difference between scholars whether when the mutlaq is with regards to one issue, that is kafara of fasting, and the muqayyad is with regards to the kafara of someone committing one of the prohibited acts in ihram. Now these are different abwab, these are different issues, right? It's not the same, it's not fasting itself. So here will we understand it in the light of the muqayyad in Hajj, or would we just say just feeding 60 people is going to be sufficient? That's an issue of dispute. So let us just leave it for now because I'm not too sure about it. Khalas? So we said that the woman will also have to pay the kafara, offer the expiation. Khalas? طيب. Is there any question here? But she can do 2 months continuously. Yes, because of if menses, she will just continue from where she left off. Khalas. Now we are going to mention the qa'idah. Remember, I told you about a principle that was very important the other day. That principle is about what invalidates the fast. What invalidates the fast? And the question that we are going to write the answer to is, you write it in your notes, the question, what invalidates the fast? We call this in Arabic mufattir. Mufattir means something that breaks the fast. Something that breaks the fast is called in Arabic mufattir. Mufattir, that breaks the fast. What is it called in Arabic? Mufattir. Yeah, Ashad, what is it called in Arabic? Afraz, what is it called? Mufattir. Sheikh Misbah, what is it called? Mufattir. Mufattir is something that breaks the fast. So what is the dabit? The principle, the maxim, qaida related to the mufattirat. When is something considered a mufattir? What is the dabit? Dabit means a maxim, a principle that helps you understand and determine everything that comes under the same category. So what is the dabit for the mufattirat? The dabit for the mufattirat is in Arabic we'll say ما كان منصوصا عليه أو في معنى المنصوص. I'll write it in English, don't worry. ما كان منصوصا عليه أو في معنى المنصوص. In English, something that was explicitly mentioned in the Quran and Sunnah, or that which في معنى المنصوص means which plays the same role. Through qiyas. Same, because it will be considered, or qiyas, or just applying the ma'na of akal and shurb on multiple things. So akal, normally eating, that's mentioned in the Quran and Sunnah. Other ways of eating, applying it to different ma'ani, ممكن qiyas, yes, we can consider qiyas. ما كان منصوصا عليه, it was something explicitly mentioned in the Quran, أو في معنى المنصوص, it has the same meaning, the same essence. Same essence as those things that have been mentioned in the Quran and Sunnah. خلاص, this will help us determine what invalidates fast. So even imna bi mubashara, if you notice, if it wasn't explicitly, even though it is not explicitly mentioned in the Quran and Sunnah, right? Imna bi mubashara, it's not explicitly mentioned, but we took it from the fact that we know jima' is haram, and jima' is something through which a person fulfills his desire. Hence the imna bi mubashara will also invalidate the fast, because it's the same meaning. You end up fulfilling the desires. طيب? Okay. When it comes to eating and drinking, let's just apply this principle to eating and drinking now. طيب? Eating and drinking. What is the most prominent trait, or what is the best description with which you can describe eating and drinking? Something that relieves hunger and thirst. One. Number two, something that is consumed through the mouth, or even you can consume it through the nose. At least it's the same passage, right? And ends up in the stomach. صح? This is number two. Now, this might not relieve your hunger or thirst, but it's still eating. And if you're eating small, let's say if you eat a tissue paper or stones, مثلا, you swallow it, it'll still be considered eating. Would we say in English that someone has eaten stones? We can say that in English, right? In Arabic, akala hijaratan. Just for the sake of argument, just to understand this issue. Even though this is a crazy thing to do, but I'm just saying, will it be considered eating or no? He takes a couple of stones and he puts them in the mouth and swallows them. Is it eating or no? Ya Sheikh Afraz, eating or no? Eating, right? Eating? Yes. Khalas? Okay. Relieves hunger or thirst. So is number one, or is, for example, swallowed through the mouth, or through the nose. And it reaches the stomach. Number three, provides nutrition, energy. Sheikh, when you have a drip, does it also relieve the thirst? If someone is
it's not dehydrated.
what about the throat? Won't they still feel thirst in the throat?
Not so much.
Not so much.
Thirst is normally because of dehydration.
Okay. خلاص. So that will also relieve the thirst. Okay, Jamil. And it will also relieve the hunger, right? Even though it hasn't directly gone into the stomach, but since it's in the blood, will it?
You can give nutrition through the vein.
Through the vein.
It's called parenteral nutrition through the vein.
Through the vein.
So and for people who have a stroke and unconscious,
yes. So it will relieve the hunger as well, and he won't feel at that time any hungry anymore, right? In the stomach.
It's calories.
So it will relieve. خلاص. So we can either go with the third one, nutrition, or we can just consider the first one something that relieves hunger and thirst. خلاص. This is eating or drinking, and that's how we best describe it. Hence, if something does not provide nutrition for you, and you swallow it through the mouth or the nose, you take it inside. And now medicines don't necessarily provide nutrition, right? Medicines, this is not for nutrition, they are for ilaj. But if you're swallowing them through the mouth or taking them in from the nose, and will end up in the stomach, then this will break the fast. Why? Because it is the way of its consumption was the same as eating and drinking. Because of the labit number two, which we said, swallowing through the mouth or taking it in through the nose. Ma'ana? We will discuss particular issues as well, but just to understand this. But if you take a medicine, just purely a medicine, nothing, it doesn't contain nutrition, مثلا, it does not have مثلا energy, or etc. and you take it in through injections, will it break the fast? Does it relieve hunger and thirst? No. Is it being swallowed through the mouth or taken in through the nose? No. So it will not break the fast. Do you understand now the difference? Khalas. Now we are going to go into particular issues. طيب. So we have here, for example, a couple of things that I want to discuss with you. Like, first and foremost, okay, now let us start with something that is okay. Note it down. Okay, each masala that we are discussing, please note it down. And at least note down the thing that we are discussing. Okay, first and foremost is inhaler. So inhaler for example, asthma, right? For in this case, and you are puffing an inhaler, right? And there is a certain amount of liquid that blows into the mouth, right? A very small amount. Most of it goes into the lungs, and there is a likelihood that a very small amount of liquid might even reach the stomach. Very small. You know, like there's a very, very, very minimal amount of liquid in one puff of the inhaler, right? Okay. Will it break the fast or will it not break the fast? The sahih is that it will not break the fast. Why? The inhaler won't break the fast. Why? Because when you rinse your mouth during wudu, doesn't some amount of water mix with your saliva? And when you swallow this and you take the saliva back in, that will eventually reach the stomach in minimal amounts, right? So that this small amount is what? Permissible, and it's not like you're not doing it intentionally, of course, and for a need, but this is waived off and it's not taken into consideration. What's the best word for that? يسامح فيه, this small overlooked. This small amount is overlooked. So when it comes to the inhaler, you will compare it to what? To rinsing your mouth. When you rinse your mouth, there is small amounts, there are, of course, of water that will remain in your mouth. You can't just throw all of it out. There's some that will mix with your saliva, some that will remain on the sides of your mouth, etc. And eventually mixing with the saliva, it will go inside. So this minimal amount is overlooked. In case of inhaler, if anything reaches the stomach, it's a very minimal amount. Most of it goes into the lungs. So here, even though it is taken through mouth and nose, mathalan, but it's not reaching the stomach. So it's not playing the same role as eating and drinking. Is it providing nutrition, relieving hunger and thirst? Not relieving hunger and thirst, hence it does not break the fast. However, there are some inhalers which contain a lot of substance like powdery substance, right? If you take that in, that will break the fast, because there is now a considerable amount of substance now that is reaching the stomach. So those inhalers that contain powder, they will break the fast. Yes, Sheikh. Ashad. Should you be conscious and then try and throw as much about that? Yeah, of course. And not necessarily. No need to do takalluf, extra effort to make sure that everything is out. Just the normal way you remove or throw the water back out. Not just the way you do it normally. Nothing extra for rinsing the mouth. Nothing extra. But when it comes to for cleansing of the nose, the Prophet ﷺ said, وَبَالِغْ فِي الْإِسْتِنْشَاقِ إِلَّا أَن تَكُونَ صَائِمًا. So he made an exception for the nose, that when you do it in an exaggerated way, and you do it with take it in deep inside, except if you are fasting. So but for rinsing the mouth, nothing was mentioned. So if there is nothing mentioned, then it's the normal way you bring out the water. It's sufficient. Khalas. So what did we say about the inhaler? The normal inhalers for asthma, that they do not break the fast. Why? Because they are similar to or less than rinsing of the mouth. Likewise, doing miswak. Now, miswak, yani eventually, yani yes, the Sahaba, for example, Umar radiallahu anh, it is narrated that he would do the siwak when he with the word إذا ذوي, yani once it becomes dry, he would use a drier one. But still, there is some amount of it that would, some substance, small amount, would mix with the saliva, and then it would eventually end up inside the stomach. Minimal amount can be overlooked. واضح? Likewise, if you're using a toothpaste and toothbrush, toothpaste and toothbrush. Are we writing this? Miswak and toothpaste and toothbrush? Toothpaste and toothbrush, we should be careful with the toothpaste. Sometimes it sticks to our, the teeth. So just rinse the mouth in a proper way. And if still there is some kind of taste that remains and some little amount that ends up inside, ما في مشكلة. واضح? Clear? But it doesn't mean that, mashallah, considerable amount of toothpaste is stuck in the mouth and you're enjoying the mint during the whole fast. That you should rinse the mouth properly rinse the mouth and be careful, because the ulama who mentioned the permissibility of using toothpaste during the fast, they said that if it's carefully, if you carefully rinse the mouth and remove it, so that should be taken into consideration. Next is people who are suffering from heart disease. They sometimes put a tablet under their tongue, right? Under the, what's that called, Sheikh?
Sublingual.
Sublingual. Type. They put that and they place it under the tongue. But does it have a substance that is that dissolves with the saliva, or is it absorbed into the body through the pores, the pores that are under the tongue? So they say that this is absorbed into the body through those pores, and it's not taken into the body through into the stomach. So you're not supposed to benefit from it by swallowing it and taking it into the stomach, or the saliva, once it mixes with the saliva and goes inside. That's not the way you are benefiting from it. Rather, it is being absorbed into the body through the pores that are under the tongue. واضح? So given this also does not break the fast, because whether you use the pores that are inside the mouth or those that are outside the mouth, there is no difference, as long as it is not being eaten, right? It's not being swallowed into the stomach, right? So it does not break the fast.
So the reason why we give stable is because it bypasses the stomach. That's the reason why we use it.
Ajib.
Because it goes straight, it's an absorption that bypasses the stomach and goes straight into the circulation.
Jamil, the reason why it is given, Sheikh Nasr says, is because it bypasses the stomach. So we don't want it to go through the stomach. We want it to be absorbed directly from the into the circulation. واضح? So it does not provide you with nutrition and does not relieve hunger or thirst, nor are you swallowing it and taking the substance inside your stomach. So it's not eating and drinking either way, right? Not being swallowed into the stomach and does not provide nutrition, so it's not eating and drinking. صح ولا لا؟ طيب. Now, next is for example, if we have let's choose for now the injections. Different. If the injections are nutritious injections, they will break the fast. Why? Because they are playing the same role as serving the same purpose as eating and drinking. But if it is only for dawa, for medicine, then will it break the fast? It will not break the fast, because it is not providing the body with nutrition and it is not being consumed through the mouth or the nose into the stomach. So both of the meanings of eating and drinking are not being fulfilled. واضح? Clear? What if the injections are for vitamins? Provides some kind of nutrition, right? So this will break the fast. واضح? طيب. Next is smoking. What if it's
illegal?
medicine or medicine? if it does not provide nutrition and it's not being swallowed and taken in from the mouth or nose into the stomach, it will not break the fast. واضح? Next is in smoking. When you smoke, they say, yani vast majority of scholars, they say it breaks the fast. Smoking breaks the fast. But why? Huh? What is going through the mouth? Smoke. So smoke has particles in it, right? That settle in the moist areas of your mouth, on in your throat, and eventually something will go inside, right? And they say that if the saliva of a smoker is checked, you will find elements of nicotine in the saliva as well. So there is substance being taken inside. Even if it is little, there is substance being taken inside. Secondly, nicotine, if I read correctly, it suppresses the hunger. Suppresses the hunger artificially. I mean, it tells the brain that it does not need to eat. So even though it is not providing the body with nutrition, but once it suppresses the hunger, it is serving one of the purposes of eating. So, even if it is temporary, it is serving one of the purposes of eating. So in this case, it will be considered something that will break the fast. What is the ruling of smoking in fast during fast, ya Faraz? Breaks the fast. Why? Huh? I can't hear you. Suppresses the hunger. But that's the only reason. It contains nicotine. Does it go inside the stomach, in the saliva? Very small amounts, but there is the smoke, the residue, or some the particles that condensate, we can say, or is it like yeah, kind of not necessarily condensation for smoke. Would it be condensation? But just the particles that settle in they mix with the saliva and go. There is something that goes inside, which is why a person feels the need to cough when he's smoking sometimes, right? Or most of you might not know, so you can't affirm. But let's ask some smokers about this. I called one, by the way, just before I came. I said, "What do you feel like? Is there something that goes?" So he wasn't too clear about it, but yallah, yani. Okay. The alternative for smoking these days that is available in pharmacies, what is it? Patches, nicotine patches. Now, it's not being taken in from the mouth or the nose, it's not being taken to the stomach, right? But the nicotine, it is doing what? Suppressing the hunger artificially, right? So it's best to be avoided, and it will be considered to break the fast. Wallahu a'lam. Sheikh ibn Uthaymeen, with regards to the patches, he said it doesn't break the fast. And I think Sheikh ibn Baz and others, they say it breaks the fast. But when you look at the effect of it, if it suppresses the hunger, and this ma'na is one of the purposes of eating. To be honest, a normal person does not think about the nutrition as much as he thinks about relieving the hunger. For a human being, and it's about relieving the hunger. I don't look into how nutritious this food is going to be for me or no, right? So if it is relieving the hunger in whatever way, then it will be Allahu A'lam considered yani similar to eating. Wallahu A'lam. طيب. Next is okay. Some people, when they have this endoscopy, it's what is it called? This tool, the minzar, the camera, the minzar. It's put into the body and through to the stomach, through the mouth, مثلا, and they apply oil and different substances on it for it to ease, for it to enter the stomach. So because of these substances that are applied to the minzar, to the camera during endoscopy, these substances will reach the stomach. So this will also be in the same meaning as eating and drinking. Hence it will break the fast. Ahsan. طيب. Next is, okay, we'll do it after the adhan. Mm. الله لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. اللهم صل على محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم. The closest one, I think, the masjid.
So this one is still going. We have to repeat it.
I think the one that is far away. يعني we will follow the one that is closest. والله أعلم. الله أعلم. طيب. Next is barakallahu fikum. The questions inshallah we'll take them at the end. يعني they're related to the Masaa'il. We'll take them once we are done with this. Okay. Now. Okay. Anesthesia. How is it taken, Sheikh?
Normally by the vein.
Through the vein. Through the mouth. And there is something that goes inside. It's like just something that is inhaled. Inhaled, right? So generally, just like the inhaler and just like any medicine that is taken intravenously, intravenous. Through the vein. So this is just a medicine. It's not serving the purpose of eating and drinking, not providing you nutrition. And if it is being inhaled, then it is just like the inhaler, and the substance is not being swallowed into the and not reaching the stomach, right? Given this,
it's a gas.
It's a gas, right? So it's just a gas. It's like oxygen. And if you have an oxygen cylinder that you're using, so it's similar to it. It will not break the fast. Wallahu a'lam.
This will become compulsion to become unconscious.
Yes.
Fast will be
Yeah, being unconscious does not break the fast. The whole day, if you spend unconscious, then it breaks the fast. We mentioned this before. Okay. Even if for a moment he wakes up during the fast, gains consciousness, and he has the intention, the fast is fine. Yes, Sheikh?
The other side of the fast, it's a principle, the hunger benefit. So if you give a teeth here, so you cannot completely knock off. But you can for a period of time.
If you're not knocked off, and it suppresses the hunger. Allahu A'lam. Allahu A'lam. But the fatwa with regards to it, I'll tell you, suppressing the hunger is something that was based generally when they mention the prohibition of smoking and that it breaks the fast, they mention the substance going inside. They did not mention the suppressing of hunger. This was something that I did the research, and then once I got to know that it suppresses hunger, I figured out that it's the same purpose as food and drink. But would it be applied to others? Allahu A'lam. Here, for example, when it comes to غازات التخدير لا يفسد الصوم به قرار مجمع الفقه الإسلامي, the Fiqh Council, Islamic Fiqh Council, and also so they generally give the fatwa that does not break the fast. So generally, likewise the injection for anesthesia also does not break the fast. Fatwa of Sheikh Ibn Uthaymeen as well. Right. Okay, dialysis, and generally, if someone is being what do we call it, Sheikh? When you are not feeding, like giving blood to someone, transfusion. So transfusion of blood, and in dialysis, generally speaking, so transfusion of blood, because blood they mentioned that this is ghayatul ghidha, and that is what yani, where you gain the energy from, right? That is the main source of nutrition, or that's where it lies. So when blood is being added to the body, it will, and this will cause the fast to break, because it is the same as it serves the same purpose of eating and drinking, right? Okay, when it comes to dialysis, we discussed, I think, once before as well. Yeah, no, I was with you. Yeah, dialysis, when the kidney fails to uh, purify the blood. Purify, that's the word you use?
So they have to use, they have to take blood out.
They have to use now an artificial way, so they take out the blood, and this is called hemodialysis, where the blood is taken out of the body and is cleansed outside, and then a machine, it cleansed in a machine, and then it goes back into the body. So again, if we talk about hijama, that it does not break the fast, the blood coming out of the body, that is fine. But going back into the body, that is where it will break the fast. Wallahu a'lam. So if we consider that hijama does not break the fast, blood coming out, ma fi mushkila. Going back inside, mushkila. Now, this is similar to if the saliva, if you swallow and if you gather saliva in your mouth and then you swallow it, this does not break the fast. But if you spit it out, and then you, for example, la qaddar Allah, this is just for to understand, if you take it back inside from out, and once you have spit it out, you kind of try to drink it, this will break that, because now it has become a foreign object, right? Something foreign to the body. So that will break the fast. There is another type of dialysis known as peritoneal dialysis. In this, they add a substance called dialysate, and it contains glucose and things that provide nutrition and will serve the same purpose as food and drink. Hence, this will also, both of the types of dialysis will break the fast. Right, Sheikh? Hemodialysis and peritoneal dialysis, which is done within the body, right?
Then it comes to usually, I don't know what they do in dialysis.
Yeah.
The hemodialysis, they don't put anything.
They don't put anything, right? There's just a cleansing of the blood and the blood going back inside. But in the peritoneal dialysis, they put dialysate, and it has kind of glucose and other things. So that will break the fast because of that additional substance that has been added. Because in hemodialysis, no additional substance was added, but the blood went out and back in. So that going back in will, Allahu Alam, break the fast. طيب غاز الأكسجين عندنا حقنة العلاجية. خلاص. I think most of these issues have been covered. Okay, eardrops. Again, ear is not something through which you consume food. So it is not in the meaning of eating and drinking. And also it does not provide a nutrition. So not in the meaning of eating and drinking. Hence it will not break the fast. Eye drops, even if you feel some of the taste, you may spit it out, it will not break the fast, because eye is usually not a place through which people consume food or drink. Hence, it is not in the meaning of eating and drinking, and these drops also do not provide nutrition. Hence, it will not break the fast. Khalas. Likewise, بس يكفي هذا الصائم معجون نقل الدم واخذ الدم للتحليل. خلاص, that's sufficient. Now, for the questions that are there in the chats regarding these issues, some people said smoking is generally not allowed or haram, right? Yes, and according to vast majority of scholars, it's haram because of the harm it causes. Eating a question: what if a person is diabetic and nowadays there are insulin patches similar to other medicines, or even if the medicine is being taken through the veins, if it's not serving the purpose of eating and drinking, which does not provide nutrition, and it's only a medicine, it does not break the fast, and it's not being swallowed inside, right? So it will not break the fast. The insulin, where is it taken, Sheikh? When you inject the insulin into the stomach, where is it? Under the skin. It does not go inside the stomach, right? Under the skin, bas. So under the skin, again, it will not break the insulin injections will not break the fast. Wallahu a'lam. Yes. Nose drops, Jamil. Qatratul anf, nose drops. So nose drops, if you avoid swallowing, and if there is a considerable amount that is being put inside the nose through the drops and you avoid swallowing it, it will not break the fast. But if you are swallowing it, because nose is, and it has a passage that leads to the stomach. So eating and drinking, mainly when we consider the first dabit of swallowing something or consuming something, we take into consideration the mouth and the nose. So because that is one main passage that leads to the stomach, we would avoid it. But if you're avoiding swallowing those drops and you spit it out, for example, if it goes into the mouth, then khalas, it won't break the fast. واضح? Should we suffice with this for today? Inshallah. One last question here. Suppository. That is from the dubur. From the dubur again. It does not provide nutrition. It's just for easing the excretion, right? Suppository for pain relief.
Sometimes people use them to reduce any inflammation or infection away from your.
يعني is for علاج, as a dawa. It's being used as a dawa, as a medicine for pain relief or for whatever case, and it's not being used for nutrition, nor is it in the same meaning as eating and drinking. Then it will not break the fast. Wallahu a'lam. Yes.
Or it needs to be given contrast, an injection which shows it.
It's like again, does it provide nutrition to you? No, it does not relieve hunger or thirst. Is it being swallowed through the mouth and nose, taken inside the stomach? No. So it will not break the fast. Simple as that. Khalas. So let's suffice with this for today. Inshallah, we'll complete. Inshallah, we'll speed up in the next class and try to finish it with Allah Ta'ala. But these were some important issues we could have discussed, especially with plenty of doctors and mashallah medical students with us. So alhamdulillah. Sallallahu alaihi wasallam baraka ala nabiyyina Muhammadin wa ala alihi sahbihi ajma'in. Subhanakallahumma bihamdik nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.